Gee, I wonder what company this is from. The Insta360 Link AI-powered webcam features a 4K half-inch sensor, facial tracking, and 3-axis gimbal providing stunning picture quality and freedom of movement, whether sitting stationary, moving around while presenting, or utilizing desk view, the perfect angle is always achievable. The Insta360 Link's 3-axis gimbal not only provides extremely smooth physical tracking, but also allows for full HD resolution portrait mode by physically rotating the camera 90 degrees while still maintaining perfect motion tracking. And True Focus seamlessly adjusts between objects and faces without the need for manual adjustment. Professional grade settings allow you to fine-tune the perfect image, while gesture controls provide hands-free tracking and zooming, and custom preset positions allow for more flexibility and creativity, all with a single webcam solution. The Insta360 Link's image quality is so good in fact that most of the footage in this promo were filmed directly on the Link webcam itself. To see the full list of specs and to learn more about the Insta360 Link webcam, check out our full video by following the link in the description below. Oh, don't strip out. Okay, one huge thanks to Origin PC for sending this over for my 2 cents. And two, see, he did the thing. The name, and did the, whatever. I'm gonna tell you this. I think Origin has like the best protection for their builds from anyone else, because this one is part of their freight crating service. As you can see, when it's on a pallet and can't be tossed around by the loving, caring touch of UPS and FedEx's normal truck services, it has a better chance of surviving its arrival, or its trip, if you will. Ooh. All right, so there we go. Once we open the crate, obviously we are met with a box, exactly the same as we have seen in every single, this one's heavy. It's a full water-cooled build. I don't know if it's rigid tubed. I don't know anything about this other than it's 14th gen. But it's very heavy, which is gonna be very indicative of a water-cooled build. Ugh. We're gonna do it live because, like I said, I don't know anything about this build, to be honest. I'm curious as to, the last water-cooled build we took a look at was the one that had like crazy tubing runs everywhere. It was actually a beautiful build in terms of just the amount of time and effort it took to do all those tube runs. But I had a critique about fan placement. I'm just curious as to whether or not anything's changed with that. It was kind of a minor gripe. If anything, it was really more of an ego pissing contest between myself and another builder, but that's okay. We can still exist. That's actually really stuck in there. We can still be friends, if you will. Okay, so this is the same stuff you get with every Origin build. They give you all the extra cables from your power supply and the extra brackets and stuff, plugs, RGB extension cables, all the stuff you would typically have that most people would toss. Whoops, I just tore that. Origin doesn't know what you plan on doing with, I love this. They give you everything. They don't know what you plan on doing with your build in the future, so they literally give you all of the stuff that comes with it. Clearly this is going to be a water-cooled graphics card because it's got a Corsair block. We can see that right there. Antenna stickers. They even give you the socket cover, you know, that comes from the motherboard. I mean, it is a pre-built system, so most people probably don't need that. However, you have it. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to get this out of here. I love when they pay attention to whatever my flavor of the month is, because I'm always changing my mind on like logos and color schemes and stuff. They really sort of leaned into the Vaporwave. Nice. I like that. That looks real nice. So this is part of a service that's available with Origin PC. This is their UV printing. So this is obviously a custom image. I don't know, I don't think they sell this. Like, I don't think you can go and order a Jace 2 Cents one unless you provide our logo and stuff to them. But anyway, that's all UV printed, so it's not gonna scratch off. Same thing with on the glass right here. Here's my logo, and then the Origin PC logo. So this is a Corsair 5000 series case. I think it's a 5000. I don't think it's an X, because an X would have glass on the front. So anyway, it's all got protective plastic on there. Wait a minute. I've always wanted to do this and they beat me to it. Damn it, guys. They sleeved the tubes. Look at that. Chrome fittings with sleeve tubing. Dang it. I'm just gonna go ahead and say I lost the war because they're still using those as exhausts. They're not intakes, like I said. I feel like it should be, but that's fine, whatever. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fans exhausting and only 3 intaking. My only concern about this layout of fans is the fact that we proved it in our video already, is the air that's brought in right here gets immediately exhausted right there and it doesn't make it over here. So then these fans are pulling air from all the cracks and stuff, and then it doesn't give us as much fresh air to the upper radiator as I think we should have. But there is a rear radiator right there, so there's a little bit of resistance. So I'll give them that, and that this is a much more free-flowing front because of the fact that there's no rad on the front. So let me take this off. But as you can see though, we do have just open fans in the front with a fan filter there, which is gonna have a lot better ability to bring in air versus like through a rad or something like that. I'm happy to see that they installed a drain plug. In fact, it's even got a little bit of flex to it because they're using a kind of a T-fitting over there, and then they've got it going, out here to the rad, but then at the lowest point of the loop, we have a drain. Drains, as I've already showed you, are a great place to not only drain a system, but also to fill a system if you need to. Now, obviously, with the Corsair pump reservoir combo, we have a fill port right here on the top. So filling that's actually not that big of a deal. Draining, if you don't have a drain port, is very, very difficult. Now, as long as you have a port available somewhere, I've already showed how you can vacuum fill, which has been a lot of fun, and that's how we do our systems in the future. I don't know if any of these SIs have incorporated any sort of vacuum fill, but these are soft tubings. I can't tell if it's just, like I want to undo one of these collars and pull it back. I'm curious if they just found sleeving that will fit in there. And, I'm just gonna do it, screw it. Hopefully I don't pull off the tube. I wanna know now. Because one of the things Phil asked, he's like, dude, are they gonna start selling that tubing? I'm like, I think this is just something that they made. Yeah, it looks like it's just regular like paracord type of sleeving. That's just the right diameter to fit over one of their clear tubes. So this is actually the XT Softline clear PVC tubing. So I'm pretty sure that this is what's under there. It then just has a sleeve over it. Now, there was a kink up here that we were able to just sort of bend the fitting and squeeze it back to round. It was pretty kinked off, and that's because when they put in the expansion foam, it sort of pushed that over, and then that was like, boop, like that. So that's not abnormal for this tubing. This is just, in fact, I think the paracord might even make it a little bit better. That's just because this is thin wall tubing. This is a 13 by 10, so it's only a 3mm tube or wall, which kinks very easy, as you can see. So that's been one of my gripes about the 10mm by 13 instead of the 10 by 16. 10 by 16 tubing has a much thicker wall that doesn't kink as easy, but it's also much thicker tubing and takes up more space. So it wasn't that big of a deal though. We just turned the fittings back to where we can give it a nice smooth radius, and then just sort of massaged it there, and then it's all good to go again. So the same thing down here on the bottom, only because when they push the expansion foam in there, it shoved itself like that. So in terms of specs though, as best as I can tell, this is a 14900K, I believe so. This is an RTX 4090 Founders Edition card. MSI Edge motherboard, Z790 more than likely. Same board I've used in a couple builds now so far. I really do like this board. It's a really good feature-rich board that doesn't completely break the bank. Like I think I bought ours for like $280 at the time I did the build. So it's not super crazy and over the top. It also has, one of my favorite features about this board is a toolless cover for getting to your M.2. So there. And as you can see for a drive, it's a 990 Pro from Samsung. So that's gonna be a nice fast Gen 5 drive. Actually, it's a Gen 4 drive. Interesting. Anyway, this RAM is really tall. So what RAM is this? Oh, these are the new Dominators. New Dominator Platinums. There's little spots on there. So these have the entirely new lighting system on there. In terms of speed, they look like, oh, this is a 32 gig kit. 7200? 7200 CL34. That'll be fun to play with. 1.45 volts to do it. Do you know that the base voltage for DDR5 is 1.2? Power supply, it's a RM1200X, so plenty of power for our 4090 and our 14900K. As you know, both of those parts can be very power hungry. And then the cable, this is the Corsair PCIe Gen 5 power cable. To my best of my knowledge, none of those have ever failed. But they also fit very, very tight and they're very high gauge. So I just want to point that out. In fact, it's such a thick gauge, I thought they were solid cable at first. And of course they was like, nope, they're stranded. Okay, so air filter right there on the inside of the chassis because why? That's an exhaust, but whatever, it's there. The little door opens right here, which is a Corsair feature. And there is a drive installed, but this is where we also get to show off once again. There are very few people on the market that have the cable management that Origin does. If there's one thing that I just have to give them credit for is the amount of effort and time they go in to cable manage their stuff. So both of the Link controllers you can see are down there because the water cooling stuff and the fans are all Corsair Link, which means the fans are daisy chained. And then obviously the water cooling components have their single cable plug-in as well. There's 2 boxes down there, so that means we obviously have a splitter on there. And then this, I'm curious as to what, I can't tell what the back is. I want to know what size drive that is. A little bit curious to me that they're still using SATA drives, but hey, you know, they can still be a good value. Maybe they have a huge inventory of them personally. Like, I don't know what their back stock looks like on SATA drives, but I can tell you shopping SATA drives right now is a very volatile market. Sometimes they're more expensive than NVMEs for the same amount, and then they're significantly slower. So I'm just wondering if maybe they're blowing these out and doing a really good deal on them. But one of the things I love about the new Corsair power supplies, as you can see, because these are side mounted plugs, they're also very small. They're very small connectors versus traditional power supplies. It means without the cable sticking out this way, there's all this room for them to hide like the controller boxes right here for the Corsair Link and stuff. And then there's enough width right here that the cables can come out sideways and still be cable managed and look pretty and have access to them. I gotta hand it to, I mean, look at this cable management up here for like the Link cables and stuff. This would drive me insane. Like I care about cable management, but the backsides of my computers never look a fraction this good because I get OCD about the front and then I am just out of energy by the time I get to the back. So this is beautiful. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the side panels back on and I want to plug it in, turn it on, see what the lighting looks like, make sure the loop is flowing properly, and we'll do some temperature testing on this bad boy. Okay, I actually changed the lighting profile a little bit. They had one custom made that was a little bit more saturated, kind of a vaporwave. On camera, this probably looks very white. It's actually blue and pinks, but very pale. I changed it, and then I can't go back to it. So sorry guys, whoever put in the time. It was saved as a profile, but apparently I overwrote it, my bad. But I want to talk about the lighting here before I put the side panel on, because the side panel is very tinted. And I know it's a little darker here, but obviously we want you to be able to see the lighting. So you can see obviously because of the tinting, it tends to really sort of darken out the lighting, which I think is kind of nice. It's not too bright and in your face. But because it is Corsair iLink, everything just immediately like lights up and does its thing pretty quickly and easily. Changing it's actually really fast with the app. I like the Origin logo. They've got this kind of an animated screen here, because obviously the XD7 Elite LCD block has an LCD screen in the center, as you can see, and that's customizable, but that's one that they came up with that has the Origin logo, sort of like star tracing or laser tracing, however you want to call that. They've got everything else here kind of linked together color-wise. Unfortunately, the Dragon on the MSI block is RGB rainbowing, but you can't really tell too much because of the fact that it's right next to this light, but that doesn't appear to be synced with Link. It might be a part of a plugin, but anyway, it's currently not. You can see the RAM and everything is working perfectly, the graphics card, the fans, the reservoir. Right now the fans are all fairly low speed, including the pump. You can even tell by that one little bubble that's just like hanging out in the drop-down tube. But I'm assuming that the fan speed as well as the pump speed will speed up with load. That's how people tend to wire up their fans and stuff with water cooling. And then everything, yeah, feels pretty solid. There's no leaks or anything anywhere, which is important. As you can see, the reservoir level dropped a little bit. That's totally normal with it getting shipped and turned all over the place. Air can get trapped in different places. You turn it on and immediately just the air gets trapped in the reservoir exactly as it's designed to do. That's the whole reason there's a push down tube in a res, if you never knew that. That's designed to push the return fluid down into the bottom so that it's always below the water level. Otherwise you get that kind of an aquarium percolating sound of water dripping, and unless you want that sound, don't do that. So, all right, I'm gonna go and put the side panel back on, and I'm gonna install a couple apps on here real quick just to sort of put this thing under some load so that we can see, you can see how well the temperatures do. So the dashboard inside of Corsair IQ obviously shows you a lot of stuff. So each individual core showing here, our package temp right now is at 49C with Port Royal running. Again, this is a benchmark that only stresses the GPU, not the CPU in any way. So you can tell that by the 2% load right there. But if we go ahead and take a look here at the GPU side of things, here it is right here, our 4090 is at 99% load. I like that it shows hotspot as well too. It shows the lows and the highs as well. So that little number on the left is the lowest temp, the one on the right is the highest temp. But as you can see right now, we are currently at 50C and 60C for regular temp and hotspot temp. This isn't completely abnormal considering the fact that the fans are still not running entirely all that warm or all that fast. So they're pretty low speed. They did speed up for a second and then they came back down. So you can go in and adjust that curve. But 50C right now on a 4090 being stress test in Port Royal. Port Royal is a pretty hard benchmark to run. That's the whole point of it. And that's why it's, you know, got Hall of Fame and leaderboards and all that sort of stuff. So like, I'm not really too happy with like the temperatures where they are currently at 52 and 62. That 10-degree delta is pretty standard for an NVIDIA GPU. But now I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna play around with the fans. So let's go to, and you can see the Corsair iLink stuff right here, right? Each component, and that's what's nice about iLink, is each component is intelligent on here where you can see the, like we know we have hubs, right? But we can control the fans independently. So let's go ahead now and go to cooling on these. I don't know which fan these are. They're set to balance. I'm gonna go to extreme on these real quick just to see what happens here. See, this is the RPM, as you can see right here. They went up for a second like I showed, and then they started coming back down. But I would honestly prefer to have faster RPMs under load, which Extreme's gonna do. It's gonna go higher RPM and a little sooner in the temperature curve than say leaving it at balanced. Oh, that's just our lighting curve. Okay, so all the fans are connected right now via link. Yeah, see our hotspot's already started coming down, which is nice to see. So now over time, it'll allow itself to start coming down in temps. But that's the thing, is you can totally customize it. Right now it was definitely noise optimized. I would certainly personally prefer it to be temperature optimized. So customizable, it's easy to go in there and do. Frequency right here is at, yeah, 2820. Especially if this is a Founders Edition card, which I have a sneaky suspicion it is just by the size of the PCB. It's got to be a Founders Edition card. 5820 is not bad at all. Our CPU is running at 5686, and then the memory is at 1312. Now at 1312, remember it's DDR, so it's actually like 4 times that. That's what the actual effective is going to be. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at how the water cooling loop is affecting this system. So I've got XTU open right now. This is Extreme Tuning Utility. I don't recommend using this unless you're comfortable with overclocking, and we did a whole video about how to use it. But I just want to use this right now as a metric to show you guys how we can play around with it and see how well the water cooling loop is performing. So if I just go ahead and do a single run right now, you can see the performance ratio is set to go up to 5.7 all core on the P cores, 4.4 all core on the E cores, 253 watts, that's the standard Intel wattage limit. And then after 56 seconds, that would drop down to, technically it won't drop down from 253, but you can see our package temp right now is about 80, 81C. Our true throttling limit right now is about 100C, so we're 20C of headroom. That score right there was a 38,433. Kind of meh, I mean, that's pretty standard. 14900K should be, honestly, maybe a little bit higher than that, but I think we can go ahead and push this. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to do a little bit of a core voltage offset. I wanna see if I can get a minus 60 millivolts right now to bring that temperature down. I'm just curious what's gonna happen. There, oh, no, actually about the same right now, 80. Now I feel like the MSI boards sometimes give a little bit of an aggressive kind of a voltage curve. So each board manufacturer is gonna have a little bit of a different sort of ideology on that. That was a 39654. So even though the temp didn't really change, because of the fact that we were able to bring the current down a little bit, means it probably added 100 megahertz to our CPU, to be honest. In fact, if I go advanced view here, we can check that. So here's another run. This is a weird bug that shows every now and then where the frequencies report as 0 with XTU. I don't know why that happens, but it does happen. But clearly we got some uplift here. I just ran it again, 39,773. And again, we're not getting any throttling. So if we were throttling, you'd get the reasons showing up right there in yellow. So the only throttle we're getting is our power limit, which at stock is 253 watts. So it's power limit and EDP limiting at 253 watts. So that's correct. That should usually be the reason why the CPU is limiting, is power. If it's ever saying temperature and it shows up here package temp or anything like that, that's a problem, because that would obviously mean that you're overheating. So that's not the case. That was also a 39,897. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna just try and add 100 megahertz to our P cores. Let's see if we can break that 40,000 mark. Still at 82C, so plenty of headroom. It may not even move score because it might not be able to run 5.8 all core right now because of the fact that it's power limited at 253 already. Yeah, see a 39,694. So that's not gonna give us any additional score because of the fact that 253 is our limit, not our frequency. So I'm gonna go in now and I'm going to, actually no, in advanced view, I'm going to, and I had also put the turbo timer at 128. 56 is stock. I just want to make sure it can get through the whole test without a problem. I'm gonna bump this up right now to like, 300 watts. That's pretty good middle ground. Most water-cooled systems could handle like 320, no problem, without overheating. Remember, the temperatures we're gonna see in Cinebench are way higher. They're way, way higher than you're gonna see in any normal use case. This is like a dyno run for a car. This is max stress, okay? Yes, there are more stressful tests out there, but for average users, use case, this is max stress. So our temperature is at 85. Look, we're no longer power limiting now. That means we were allowed to get, so at that frequency, we have more than enough power. 320 watt was enough, but we're at 265 right now. So that tells me that we probably will see an uplift here of over 40,000. Yep, 40,419. And 85C is still 15 degrees of headroom. That's just because of the fact we have two 360 millimeter water radiators in here. All right, so let's talk about some final thoughts here from the water-cooled Origin PC build. All right, so the Origin PC Neuron, what do you get? Well, first of all, these are available in pre-built. Origin PC also offers custom builds so that you can sort of like consult with them to build like a one-off bespoke PC just for you. I don't think they did this just for us, I hope not, but I do really, really, really like the automotive look of the sleeved tubing in this. Especially with the chrome fittings, it goes really well. It's like maybe they bugged our office because I know Phil was like, dude, we should do like sleeve tubing. That'd be really cool. I'm like, yeah, but that just sounds like it'd be hard. Obviously they made it work. So I might have to try that now in the future. I'm glad that they've listened to some of the stuff in the past we've recommended, like drains on there are nice to have. But you know, it performs like a 14900K underwater, which is nice. It performs like a 4090 underwater, which is nice because of the fact that a lot of people are not comfortable with building something like this themselves. It's the entire reason that SIs or system integrators even exist, because of the fact that this is a lot of work. A lot of people just are not comfortable with attempting to build this themselves. Even though my entire channel is based on trying to teach you how to do it, and it's not hard, you get something with this that you don't get for yourself, which is also a warranty and a customer service department. I mean, they have like pretty much a concierge service that can help you through the entire process of putting together your own PC parts to make sure everything's spec'd how you want, make sure you're getting the most out of your build. Obviously, a warranty department to help you if anything ever goes wrong. And then sure, Origin PC has had some growing pains in the past, and I've said this over and over, it's not if a problem ever occurs with the company, because every company will have a problem at some point, it's how they handle those problems. So anyway, if you're in the market for a new PC, or you're looking to buy one for a friend or a relative or as a gift, the nice thing is they have a huge range of pricing. Everything from more affordable, air-cooled, basic assembled builds that just, again, come with that warranty and that support system, all the way up to bespoke custom water-cooled builds like this. They're available. So anyway, links are down below. Check them out. Once again, a huge thanks to Origin PC for sending us this to take a look at. You know, it's a lot to ask any cooling system these days to keep an Intel 14900 or a 13900 cool. It's getting the job done. Good enough, with plenty of headroom for us to still even do more overclocking if we want to. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.